Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? She said to him, Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is to come into the world. And when she had said these things, she went her way, and secretly called Mary her sister, saying, The teacher has come and is calling for you. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the town, but was in the place where Martha had met him. Then the Jews who were coming with her in the house, and comforting her, when they saw that Mary rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying, She is going to the tomb to weep there. Then when Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her weeping, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. And he said, Where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. Then the Jews said, See how he loved him. And some of them said, Could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying? Then Jesus, again groaning in himself, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone lay against it. Jesus said, Take away the stone. Martha, the sister of him who was dead, said to him, Lord, by this time there is a stench, for he has been dead 4 days. Jesus said to her, Did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. And I know that you always hear me. But because of the people who are standing by, I say this, that they may believe that you sent me. Now when he had said these things, he cried out with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. And he who had died came out bound, hand and foot, with grave clothes, and his face was wrapped with a cloth. Jesus said to them, Loose him and let him go. Then many of the Jews who had come to Mary and had seen the things Jesus did believed in him. But some of them went away to the Pharisees and told them the things Jesus did. We'll stop right there, and you guys can read that. Okay, we could start. So I have some things I want to say, but it's impossible. And so I'm going to do my best. I'm in a place where I could do a better job without notes, and I can do a better job with them. Maybe 9 months or a year, always better with no notes. But I'm right stuck in the middle right now. So I'm always torn. I don't know which way to go. I'll miss some things if I don't do notes, but it'll be better if I don't do notes. It's that. So too bad. So the first thing I want to say about this, so I thought we'll stay with this story. And there have been times when I've read this story and thought it seemed dry. Not a lot to build a class of. But I think now we could take 6 weeks and it'd be okay. It's so full. It's so wonderful. But I want you to know, this is not religion. This is real. So try to think about it. It's real. And it's really what's going to happen. And one of the things I want to say, if I don't do notes, is, how can I say it? I say it this way all the time, then I think it doesn't sound very good, but you don't know who you are yet. You don't. Trust me. You don't know how you are yet. At all. You have no idea. Really. None. The way you are now is nothing at all like the way you're going to be. And it's not even close. And so these stories, it's so we're learning. So we're learning here. Mary, the one who's chosen the greater part. Mary, the contemplative, right? She's mourning the loss of her brother, and she hears that Jesus has invited her to go and speak with her. And what happens? She gets up immediately and quickly and goes to him. This is her response. She hears his invitation. She gets up. She arose quickly and went to him. So Scripture's not kidding around. If it's there, there's something you can get out of it. So that's the model of the contemplative, right? First of all, the contemplative heard the invitation. She heard it. But her response time is fast, really fast. Have you ever, there's at one stage, I would think, I really need to pray more. But I would sit and think about how I should pray more instead of actually just praying more in that moment. That's super slow. It's amazing. I should pray more. Yeah, I really ought to do that more. I mean, I don't pray enough, and I really ought to, as it's some kind of hypothetical thing. And maybe you could relate. That happens at a certain stage, but another little stage further, you don't think I should pray more. If you have that thought, you start praying more right there. That's quickly. Does that make sense? So I say all these things all the time, but right now, it's the slowest you will ever be. It's the slowest you will ever be. And if you have really decided to move towards life, then you're in this river that's pulling you towards it. And nothing about the way you are is going to be the way it is. The intensity of the power of God is going to flow into you, and it's going to enliven all of your faculties, all of your perception, your will, everything. And you're going to be filled with God's fire and zeal in a way unknown to you now at all. You can't know it. And you have to know Jesus says, be passers-by. For sure this is what he's saying. Do not think the way you are is the way you are. Hate it. Hate it. Despise it. You don't want to be the way you are because we're being called to this infinite life, and we're being invited somewhere that is radically different than the way we are now. But we're being called blindly. We don't even know what it looks like. We don't even know. I'm having someone draw a painting for the center, one number of them. Daniel's doing one, and he might be doing another one, but Alexis might do it. But there's another one, the blind beggar. I just want it to be an old, withered man with a blindfold on and a crooked cane coming out of a forest. And the forest is dark, and he's coming towards a brighter place, but he's blind. He doesn't even know where he's going. That's the favorite image for Christian spirituality. You don't know. And see, I got lucky because they took me in backwards, which means by the end of the first 10-year period, I was I was walking around in union 24/7 for days and days and days at a time. And if I looked at people, sometimes it did miracles. If they touched me, sometimes it cured them. I know where we're going because I was there. And, you all know the tragic end of it, because I thought I was enlightened, and then they said, okay, now you got to learn about process. And it all went away. And I started with zero, absolutely nothing, maybe as low as you can start. Most traumatic, it traumatized me, it hurt me, it shocked me. But I got to tell you, I'm so grateful, because if I had been able to pop through then, I would have made very few saints. I had no idea how I got there. I wasn't a reflective person. It happened super fast. I told people to meditate. If they didn't see a white light in a couple weeks, I thought there was something wrong. Like, I just did not know the way. And they said, you got to learn about process. And it felt like I just woke up the next day with nothing. I felt someone walk in and put a lid on my head. All of my consciousness disappeared, and I had nothing, literally nothing. Now, I really wasn't enlightened because I'd only done the last third of the journey. So there's like some question about what it's going to be like with the beginning 2/3 and the last third. And I could tell you it is different. I hope this is all right. I just went off the thing. So I hope it's okay. But one of the markers is dreams. I have this recurring dream. Back when I was on fire working miracles all the time, I could fly in my dreams. But there always sometimes would be really powerful wind blowing. And I couldn't steer very well. So I'd get blown, I'd get kind of high, and I'd get going fast. The wind would blow me, and then I'd start getting reckoned into, like, out in the desert, there's these gigantic power lines that are like 4-legged and 800 feet high, and I'd blow into those and get shocked and wake up getting jolted, and it was messy, and I could fly though, and when I was having those flying dreams, it was like I'd be transcending ego, and but it was pretty messy and chaotic, and I'd get hurt sometimes, and I'd get scared too. I'd get up real high and I'd be scared of it, and I'd be frightened and think, and a friend that was like me was having the same exact kind of dream, the same way. But then he said, yeah, but then, dude, one day I just grabbed the 2 wires and I didn't get shocked. It just flowed through me. And I'm like, well, I'm a long ways away from that, because when I see those wires coming, I'm so scared and I freak out. And that's that. But I was working miracles when that was happening. And that was a very specific dream. It was really related to what was happening. So now I have the low. So when I'm high, I don't always know I'm high when I'm high now. It's clear instead of white. It used to be just, whoa, and now it's clear. So sometimes I can be really high and not know I am. So these reoccurring dreams, now I have skills. If I'm flying, I can fly any speed I want. I can turn at will. I go anywhere I want, and it's quick. And there's no, like, the wires aren't even present. Doesn't matter. And so like there's these markers where I can tell. Okay, they're showing me where I am in relation to where I was, but with the beginning 2/3 is the point, with all of it. So that it is different. But that's a long way of just saying I know where we're going. I know what it's like. And you guys, you just want to die to your stuff. You really do. You want to get rid of it. You want to stop defending it. You want to stop hiding from it. You really do, because I'm telling you, man, I'm not kidding. In 5 minutes, in one of the spaces I'm talking about, you will have more enjoyment of your life in that 5 minutes than you've ever had in your entire life on this planet. And you're clinging to kids and grandkids and family structures. And it's like, dude, you don't even know. You're clinging to poverty. You're clinging to death and don't know it. There is more life in a freaking, I'm not kidding, I really mean this. There is more life in a moment in that light than you've had your whole life. And I'm not kidding. And it wouldn't matter if you were freaking homeless. It wouldn't matter if you're sitting in a freaking garbage pile. You would be happier by 1,000,000,000 freaking times in that light than you are in your present life. It's not even close. It's ridiculous. So that's the power of resurrection. That's the power of, we die to ourselves. Hopefully in the night, Teresa says we die to ourselves enough that we won't stop going to the light. Nobody goes to the night quickly or happily. No one likes it. Some people back away for months or even a few years before finishing it. No one loves it. But and that's the part where, when I was in the light, man, people thought I was going to get enlightened. They did that. Clint, you're going to make it. People said, Clint's going to make it. Because I was so zealous for God. I'd go out in thunderstorms hoping to get hit by lightning, man. Just hoping, I just felt like if I get hit by lightning, it would probably speed it up. I just was zealous, man. Crazy stuff, that people do. But as soon as the night hit, I'm very, very wimpy. Pathetic, even. The exact opposite of what I was like. I mean, the exact mirror image. Just timid and weak and crying and just, yeah, I will, but not now. And just, I'll come. I promised to come, man, but I'm not coming right now, and I'm sorry. And just watching TV and just, dude, it was the opposite. And that was so hard to fall into that. But the thing is, man, you got to get through that death part because whatever in you is keeping you from being one with God already, whatever the hook is, and I'm not sure what it is yet. I've been asking if they could reveal a better way of speaking about it. I would appreciate it. But whatever it is in the soul, that is the hook that keeps them from life, that keeps them in bigotry and judgment and racism, and it's sometimes subtle too, but that ugly, evil stuff, whatever holds us to that, whatever that is, man, that in the night is diminished enough so that you would never stop flowing towards God. And it's really, I think, in a way, the biggest miracle on the journey when that is healed. And Teresa of Avila is very clear, so all the saints are, you're still full of crap on the other side of that. You're just not full of it enough to stop going. That's all. I was disappointed when it was done, and I knew it was done. I was like, oh, I really wanted to be kind of better off. But I also saw that, but then again, there's nothing stopping me now from going into this place. So you guys, just all I really want to say is just do your work, man. Just let it happen. Don't be too busy for God. You could imagine many people on the path hearing the invitation from Jesus and not getting up. Thinking, well, he'll get here soon. I'll just wait. She gets up immediately and goes to him. Think about that. The quickness of that response. The thoroughness of it. That's what they're telling you with the scripture. And then, we know there's different ways to read the scripture, so we know that one way to view it is these people are just people. It's Jesus, and it's Mary, and it's Martha, and it's, and it's happening. They're historical people. This is real. That's one level of reading the scripture, but we know the Desert Fathers taught us that another way of looking at it is to see yourself in every person in the story. And just something I like to do is to see myself as every person at the same time. So aspects of myself, right? Like kind of all going on at once. There's there's sort of Mary, but there's Judas, and it's all kind of true at the same time. And so another way of looking at this story is the feminine part of you, the soft, the quiet, the listening part hears the call. Here's the call. And it hears the invitation of Jesus. And then all these other people got to be convinced to go. You know? It's like, yeah, I mean, I could, but I shared with you guys, like, some life came over me a few weeks ago, and I missed it. I felt that just a little bit of like, oh, that's it. There's a lie that you think you're too tired to go sometimes. This life will come and you'll think, I need my rest. I don't have the energy for that. If you say no, it's true and you don't. And if you say yes, the energy comes over you and you wake up and you're alive. And it's one will, like one choice of the will changes everything. But that's going on every day, all day for all of us. Too tired to love, too tired for joy, too tired to pray, too tired to do inventory. Can't quite get up and make yourself do it. That's sloth. And I'm a lazy person, but the one I want to cure, I'm a cat, and I'm not going to change it. I like it. But not when it comes to God, though. Not when it comes to God. There, it's got to become fierce. And we have to wake up to that, yes. And these are all things I wouldn't have known if I didn't get knocked down to zero. But you could be one day, you could be 1 minute, one moment away from starting to get touched by that light, and you can't tell you've made any real progress. You can't even tell. It's the weirdest. When it happened, and I got touched by the light after the doldrums, the night. It was any other night, man. I was still saying no, but yes. I was still sick, and running and not knowing I was running. But knowing I was, but not being able to stop, but wanting to stop. It was the same. And then just one evening, boom, it came again. It started to knock on my door. So it's weird that way that you could think, I don't know if I'm really getting anywhere. I don't know. And then that evening, it can come upon you, this new life. And, Teresa's image for it, what I'm talking about, I'm actually talking about the stage right before what she's saying, but we could extrapolate. Teresa of Avila, a description of this is you're a caterpillar and you go into a cocoon and become a butterfly. That's what she's talking about. You don't know how you are. You don't know what you are. Abandon all your crap you think about. It's a joke. It's dumb. It's just dumb. It just doesn't matter. This new creature is very, very different. Very different. And I'm not saying there's nothing that remains, you are you, but it's so different, man. And I just want to encourage everyone. It's like, okay, so then you say, but you don't want to make them feel like it's so high they'll never get there. But you also don't want to not say it, so they'll go. It's so tricky, just like, don't freak out, but come on. And okay, so how do you do that then? Well, mostly you're in the current, so you're just getting pulled. One thing is you could stop defending your ego. You could stop. When you're wrong, you could just let that burn pour over you and be freaking wrong. Just be wrong. And be wrong as fast as you possibly can. Imagine what it would be like if you didn't care and try to do that right there. I'm wrong, and so what? Fundamentally wrong. And just be wrong, man, as soon as possible. Be wrong. You have bigotry that remains. You have racism that remains. Subtle. It's intellectual stuff. It's like no one's racist, but everyone is. You gotta die to that. You can't enter heaven with that. And I don't know why I'm saying that. It could be anything. It's been dropping in, but I don't know why. It just could be anything. But die to that stuff as fast as you can, because it's keeping you from endless, infinite life. Okay, so we're in this river, and it's pulling you towards infinity, and that's grace, and that's salvation, and you're just going. And you're going whether Clinton gives this speech tonight or not. You're just going because you're in the river and it's happening, and that's the deal, right? That's it. But you could stop grabbing onto freaking roots and try not to go. You could stop clinging to dumb stuff. Whatever it is, it's all dumb stuff. I mean, no matter what it is. You could just stop clinging to it, let go, and go. That's one way to go faster. Stop going slower on purpose. But then we have the theological virtues. The theological virtues. And the one that I think is so ripped, so powerful, that I want to talk about tonight is hope. And it's work. It's like, look, do you want it or don't you? If you do, you probably spend some time hoping for it. That's the power of hope. It's the power of hope. Hope is a virtue. When you hope for God, when you hope for union, when you have time to hope for that instead of whatever your day's about, when you hope for that, so that you can cure someone who's sick, so that you can set a precedent that miracles exist, so that other people might find it easier to come because you found the way. When you hope like that, that is Christian work. That's work. Those are works. And you can do that. You can hope. Faith, hope, charity, the theological virtues. They're called that because they have God as their end only. Like faith in God, hope for God, love for God. Those are the theological virtues. And they're like having a bit of a motor on that freaking boat you're on going down the river. You're going, but now you're paddling. You just do it a little to go. And it's okay if you don't, you're going, you're going to get there and you're going to get to a place in the river where you do paddle if you don't now. It's like salvation's getting you there. So if you don't have that yet, don't worry. At some point you'll awaken to it, but it's nice to know that it's needed. It's nice to look for it, and it's nice to pray for it. There's some will involved. It's like we surrender our will utterly, die to our will on this journey. But what do we though? Do we? Or don't we just die to our false will? And isn't our true will fierce and strong and hungry for truth? It's awake, alive, filled with vigor. Probably, let me just check something. I don't know, blah, blah. Okay, last thing, okay? I say this, I don't know another way to say it. I run into some friction with people sometimes about it. I don't know where the line is, so I can't fix that. But you gotta lean on God for stuff and not the world. And you gotta figure out how to do that as much as possible. Why? Why? What difference does it make if I get it from a book or God? What difference does it make? Someone will say, God gave me the book. Okay, great. But there's no book for where you're going, man. So you better figure out another way. You better figure out another way. Or you'll go where everyone's gone, and that ain't where we're going. So, you got to figure out another way. What's the other way? Paul says, if you lack wisdom, ask God, and God will give it to you. That's what he says. So simple. And he means it. He means it. So you come up against these challenges in your life. It's like, I'm not afraid to get help. I'm a total wimp. Like, I'll tell you one area where I'm not letting God help me. If I go to the dentist, I'm getting gassed. Okay? I am. I don't care. I'm getting gassed. I don't like him in my freaking mouth, digging around. I just want to be high. And I say, give me gas. And if a dentist doesn't do gas, I don't go see them. They're like, this is modern dentistry. I'll take the old. Thank you. So I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect at this. But in every single area that you can, first turn to God consistently and give it time to work before you turn somewhere else. Because the end is God, not the world. So the way to God is God. The way to God is God. So when we come up against trouble and of various psychological, emotional, physical kinds, we come up against trouble, it's always better, provided you're not going to die or have something that's going to make you way worse if you don't fix it. Like if I find out I've got something worse, I'll go get it fixed, If I had high blood pressure, which I had for just a minute once, I'm taking medication right now. I'll fix the problem. I will address whatever it is. But I'll take medication while I'm doing it because I want to blow up my brain or my heart. You know what I mean? So we're not talking about a radical sort of weird Christianity where we let our kids die because they're sick and only God could heal them. But in every area where it's possible for mental, emotional, psychological, spiritual, physical ills, in every area where it's possible, walk into darkness with God with that. And let God be the healer for that. And your need makes you sincere. Your need makes you sincere. Don't be afraid of magic. If you have to take an external solution, take it. Don't feel bad. I don't care. Couldn't care less. The dentist, I'm in. Like, just gas me. Don't care. You hear about meditators, how they can not notice the pain. Great. Good for you. Not me. I'll take the gas on that one. Don't care. I'm sure I could do it. I don't care. I'm getting gassed. So I'm not trying to say rigid perfection here. But also in 99 other areas, I wait. And I assume every time I meditate, that's getting changed a little bit. Every time. Let alone whether I'm doing energy work on it or praying for it. Just the fact that I'm receiving God, I assume these issues are self-correcting. That's faith. And you got to grow in that faith because ours is weak. And in this day and age, it's weak. Radical miracles as a normal course of action is where we must end up. That means you have to take on the burden of growing in faith. The best way I know is you have problems, let God heal them. Just trust. Trust there's knowledge coming from God, not an external source. It's not black and white. I'm not a rigid thinker that way, but first God, and it makes sense because we've fallen so far that we've got to get back to normal. We got to get back to normal, which normal is sainthood. Normal is Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead, man. That's normal. And I've seen enough miracles for real. And I felt enough power like that to know that's true. I know that's true. Jesus goes into some places and he can't work very many miracles. Jesus. Think about that for a minute. Jesus couldn't work very many miracles in his own hometown. Why? Think about that. No faith. No faith. So, if Jesus is God, why couldn't he? Well, Jesus could have, but within the rules he agreed to play, it had to come through you too. It couldn't be power over and against your consciousness. It had to be power through your consciousness. This is, you find it in every mythology and story, Lord of the Rings, Gandalf is actually this supremely powerful being, but he's not allowed to use that power on the planet, just enough to inspire others to live. So like he was super on fire, powerful, but it was a rule that he couldn't use it. Only enough to move you. Only when needed. That's Jesus. So it's like we're asleep. We're asleep. We're comfortable in our slumber with God out there not challenging us and changing us radically. And we've got this world that's diminished and everyone's getting sick and it's not very good, but we're comfortable with it. And God could break through. Jesus could come and break through and shatter that. But he would be shattering our minds because it's that way because of our minds. It would be violent. So he's got to coax and invite and draw and entice and reward with sweetness and all the things to slowly get us to say yes to what is actually real. Which is for sure, it's union. It's union. So that you're in the river, you're already going. But I would ask everyone to take the burden of miracles with them. It feels like extra work to me. It literally feels like harder. Like you can find groups where they awaken and there's no miracles. But it's because some weight didn't get carried along the way. And we must carry the weight of that. It's better for the people that come after us. They walk in and see a lot of that happening. It'll be so easy for them. Jesus does all this, and he says, disciples, go do it, and they just go do it. It's like they've seen it, it's real, it's happening, they felt the power, it's simple. We're trying to recover that. But you're already in the river, so take it easy, right? This is happening. This is all going on. It's like just, I'm not going to hope right now. I'm not going to, okay, just float. You're floating on the way anyway. You're going. But then when you can, say, okay, but I do hope, God, please, don't let me miss. I'm asleep and I'm not, wake me up. And if it has to be difficult, I'm not asking for it. Make it easy. Please. But if it has to be difficult, if that's the only way I'll come, then do it. Then do it. If I'm stuck, if I won't move, if it's just going to take forever, go ahead and do it. Which what happened to me recently. So what happened to me recently, I'm very grateful. I'm extremely grateful. And I mean that. I don't mean that with a side thing going on. I'm freaking so glad that thing happened. Because it's helping very quickly to heal something that I just was so slow on. Okay, so the worry when I do these talks, am I going to not go hard enough so they don't move? But if I go too hard, they feel discouraged. I don't want either of those, please. Just somewhere right in the middle, like you're already okay, but let's roll. Let's do this. Let's go while we can. And when you step into the powers, it's easy to believe. So some of that faith comes naturally when there's power running through you. It's not so hard to believe when you could feel it. And whatever is going else on, whatever else you're preoccupied, it's dumb. It's really dumb. Just dumb. All of it. It's just ridiculous. You could let go of it all completely and wake up and it'll all still be there. Only now you'll have something to give.